I'm Andrew M. Nehring, author of David Massie and the Quantum Flux and Corrupted Light Chronicles. We've got two books in that series. So to really give you a picture about my background is I'm going to take you back to 2019, right, when I first started writing. And I know like 4 books in 3 years now, is it something like that? But I really started writing because one of my friends died, and I figured, it's time to like live life to the fullest, not worry about what other people think. I always thought of these creative, imaginary worlds, and I'd always get lost in other people's worlds they created. So I was like, you know what? I want to make something that's immersive, that's fun, and that reads in a way that I would like to read when I was younger in age. So I really kind of got into writing the books. Like I'm right here. If the esteemed audience can see through the background.
Esteemed audience who is listening to us, David's holding up his books, but because he also has the newest cover behind him, the green on the books, I think, is covering up the new covers.
Yeah.
But the good news is you follow the link to I called you David, to Andrew's website, and you can see all the covers nice and pristine.
Oh yeah, got them all laid out. You click there, you see Corrupted Light Chronicles, David Massie, and it's all there. Still tweaking a little things on the website. It's not where I want it to be right now, but we're getting there. But yeah, so like I grew up loving Star Wars, Star Trek, and Lord of the Rings, just in general, a big time nerd. And I'm pretty young, so like I wasn't there for the awesome peak fiction of the 80s and 90s, really, because I was born in 96. But I really loved everything I really got into, which was Star Wars, Star Trek, uh, Lord of the Rings. I read Ender's Game, but what really sparked my reading love was in high school. I started getting into mythology, like whether it be Beowulf or the Odyssey. Everybody's forced to read the Odyssey, and I loved it. And then one of my teachers had me really start writing. And I remember I would just slap everything on a page, and it was probably unreadable garbage, but at the time, it was something that always stuck with me. So I'm sitting there at 2019, my friends pass. I'm like, I want to write a book. So I write Corrupted Light Chronicles, book 1. And that was like my first real plunge into writing. Finally got it finished up and published about December 2019, right before society completely changed, that I was still in college, and I remember I couldn't even walk for 2020. So yeah, that's kind of the start of the background. So I know I ramble a lot.
No, it strikes me that is a wonderful time to sing or to have sunk into writing, if you could manage it. It was right there at the start of the pandemic. Like, oh, the world is way too terrifying. Let me just turn that out and focus now on my fictional world.
100%. I remember just deep diving, and I get lost in my own head thinking about all the possible ways these books can go. And I know everybody says they love a good twist, but I love strong bad guys and great twists that make the book that end it where it's like, what? And so I try and write them as not as fast as I can. I put a lot of thought and effort into it, but I'm not like George R.R. Martin waiting on the book for, what is it? How many years has it been now?
Oh, I have a conspiracy theory. I think he wrote it a long time ago. And he said, well, the only way I could deal with fans, because I have all the money, I have all the fame, let me just put this in a lockbox, and when I'm dead, publish it.
That goes to his estate.
Because until it's once it's published, even if it's the best possible finale that blows away the TV show, wouldn't take much, but makes all the fans happy. Like, yes, George, this is what we most wanted. Again, he's already got all the fame, all the money, and it's more likely that some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. It's like, do I have time to deal with angry emails? Nah, let me just enjoy my life, and it comes out when it comes out. Maybe. I don't know, Mr. Martin, if you're listening, come on the show. I'd love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, but yeah, I love these books. They're passion of mine, and yeah, that's
so,
my
fan of Twist. What are some this is a terrible question, because obviously we can't reveal the twist in your books. Esteemed audience is purchasing their copy, or they've just read it, enjoyed it, and are enjoying the interview and getting ready to purchase the sequel for David Massie. But what are some of your favorite twists in fiction?
I love let's go back to being a kid. Love Darth Vader being the father. I love the whole like, Luke, I don't even know what he said verbatim. So, but I love the whole like family aspect. I love twists that end up where the main character completely like loses. So like, not like Marvel, so to speak, because no Marvel, it always seems they beat the bad guy every time. Maybe Thanos the first time, but I'd say probably like one of the first like real big twists and turns. Like, it's through mythology, really. Like, you think about the Odyssey, how you think he's coming home every other chapter, but he gets more and more entrenched in, the Mediterranean, getting lost and all that stuff. I thought the Percy Jackson twist where, he's Poseidon, that big whole reveal, like he's Poseidon's son. Not how it was done in the movie, though. My wife is such a big fan of those books, and I remember we're watching the movie, and she's like, every like 3 seconds, she's like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. There was this big reveal, and I'm like, I know, but what can you do?
Well, with movie adaptations, I've seen some of that what I would consider to be the best movie adaptations, and like best case scenario, which for me would maybe be The Shining. Best case scenario, the movie is also very good. It's a different kind of good than the book, but both are equally good. I wouldn't skip either. But most of the time, the book is just its own separate experience. Even when the movie is tremendous, don't skip out on the book.
100%. Well, the thing is, like, a book is almost like a movie that you're able to play to yourself. That's how I kind of like view it almost.
Oh, it's better. You get to pick the soundtrack. You get to cast it. The lighting is at your preference.
The Shining twist, that was a crazy one where at the end he's just typing it all out, and this whole time he's just saying the same thing, going absolutely nuts. But isn't it with Stephen King books? I haven't read too many of them, but don't they get there's a lot of things that are left out of the movie, so to speak.
Frequently, because there have to be, because you couldn't film some of that madness.
Oh yeah.
Something I will say about Stephen King endings, and then we'll move on, because I have all kinds of questions for you. But when I read On Writing, which I think I highly recommend, a lot of guests who come on the show have recommended, it's a great book about writing. But one of the tips that he recommends there is to not to plot your story out, just get going while it's a white hot experience. And get to wherever the ending, let the ending come to you. You think it's going to be one way, but maybe you'll be surprised. And when I read that, I was like, oh, that makes 100% sense, because lots of times I have really enjoyed the beginning, mostly enjoyed the middle, and then the ending was like, what happened there? So that is a recipe to ensure you get that kind of ending. So somewhere between the white hot passion of Stephen King, I would never tell you not to write like Stephen King. Obviously, that's ideal for all of us, but maybe with just a little bit of plotting, a little bit of looking ahead to make sure that you're not writing sell and it just ends. Like, well, I'm tired of this book and I already got paid for it, so I guess that's the ending.
Yeah, that's great. Like how he's just able to put it all out there. I'm very methodic when I go about it. Like everything comes to me in scenes, and for like months I'll just be jotting things down on my phone, and then it's like almost puzzle piecing it together and being like, oh, this would be a really cool way to get to this point, and all that. So I kind of have, my process is a little jumbled because I myself am a little jumbled, but